your source for sonic relaxation. Sacramento Smooth Jazz.
Welcome back to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. Today is just like we do every week. We do an artist spotlight, and I want you to get ready for the amazing sounds of a chart-topping saxophonist and flutist. I have Paula Atherton. She's joining us today. She's a talented musician with a long history in contemporary and mainstream jazz. She has shared the stage with some of the biggest names in the industry. We'll talk a little bit about that, of course. And her music has dominated the charts, taking the #1 spot on Billboard, Media Base, and the Smooth Jazz Network. That's right. Paula has collaborated with a who's who of legendary producers, setting the stage for a fascinating new album release. And we'll talk about that. Don't miss this conversation, which begins now on Sacramento Smooth Jazz. Paula, welcome back. How are you today?
Oh, thank you so much, Michael. It's always great to talk to you. I'm doing great.
Nice. You have been just busy. You just got back from another jazz festival. We're going to talk about what's happening in Stockton here real soon. But man, how do you stay so busy? I mean, you have a lot of energy. What's happening?
I try to take care of myself, take a lot of vitamins,
Right.
exercise, all that kind of good stuff. It all helps because what we do is really physical, especially with the touring and stuff. And being a woodwind player and singer, that in itself is real physical. So you kind of have to take care of yourself.
Yeah, well, you're doing it. And you've collaborated with a lot of individuals. You've had great success. What do you think your success comes from? You've had #1 spots on all the charts. When people hear Paula Atherton, you have your signature sound. Typically, when I hear it, I go, that's Paula, right? That's Paula. So, and they go, yeah. And you also play the flute.
Uh-huh.
What do you enjoy most? Obviously, you play the sax most, but the flute. When do you choose to play the flute and why?
Well, as a songwriter, which is where it all comes from, if I'm trying to tell a story, I'll write a vocal tune. A lot of times when I write a piece that's Latin influenced, I'll play it on flute. I also write tunes from soprano sax. I haven't done that in the last couple albums because I can't really tour with it because of what you are allowed to bring on a plane and what I already bring. And I certainly don't want to check my Mark 6 soprano. So I kind of laid off writing things for soprano. But it's really, when I hear something in my head and I start writing it, I envision if it's going to be an instrumental, which instrument. And sometimes I'll even go as far as recording some of it on a couple of different instruments and make the decision from there.
Nice. What I need to do also is because you've been with us a number of times, when you come on, and we're just picking up from where we left off last time. But for those who don't know, how did it begin with you when it comes to the saxophone? What was the inspiration behind that?
When I started working, probably in my late teens, I worked as a jazz singer and I played some flute and I was studying jazz. First sing along with Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald, and then I started singing along with horn solos like Lester Young and Roy Eldridge and the like. When I heard Charlie Parker, it just completely blew me away. I was like, oh my God, I got to learn what's going on there. I have to get with that. And it was partially from that angle and partially from the angle of I was starting to write a little bit and just improvising. I needed a different color. I needed a different sound. You'll notice a lot of woodwind players are doublers in that they play more than one woodwind, They'll play sax and flute or sax and clarinet or whatever it is, because a lot of the fingerings are the same, especially between flute and saxophone. It's just an obvious way to go. Saxophone is a different animal than flute, different embouchure, different technique and all that. It did take me a while to kind of get it together where I felt comfortable playing it in public, but I love the instrument.
It shows you love it because you do it very well. You're a world traveler. I mean, every time I'm looking, it's like, oh, she's at another festival. She's performing here. She's performing over there. And I see that you're one of the busy ones. And for good reason. People want to hear you all over. You are a welcome voice, if you will, when it comes to the music. So I know, too, that you have a new project. What's going on with this?
My 7th full release, Dance and Shoes, is finally coming out this month, April 19th.
Nice. And any notables that we should be aware of that you worked with on this?
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing about this particular release is it has 4 top 10 tunes on it already.
Right.
Sometimes I'll complete an album and then pick singles. This time I released 4 singles first. So it has 4 singles on it and 7 other songs. Mm-hmm. Keep It Coming is on here, which went to #1 on Media Base and 4 on Billboard. and Jacob Webb produced that. Dancing Shoes, which is out right now. The last charts, it was like number 4 on Mediabase and the Smooth Jazz Network, and 9 on Billboard. That's the title track. Ready or Not is on here. That I did with Adam Hawley. Oh, Dancing Shoes I did with Greg Manning. Mm-hmm. And that was a co-write as well, as Ready or Not was with Adam. Open Road is the closing track on here. I did that with Greg Manning. Time Out I did with Curtis Harmon, producing from Pieces of a Dream.
Oh, nice. Your collaborations are notable to me because I'm noticing this pattern, and it's a pattern of success. You pick your collaborators very well. But my question is, what do you think about when it comes to collaboration? What are you looking for when it comes to a project?
I'm just trying to keep pushing the boundaries. Where radio's involved, we're mostly working my saxophone tunes. Not really working flute or vocals. I'm a multi-instrumentalist, so it's really hard for me to just do one thing.
Right.
If I'm just going to be working on one instrument, I don't want to keep making the same record over and over again. I need to work with people that are going to make me go in different directions and think differently than I might. So I'm just trying to keep growing and just seeing where I can go with things.
I can tell you have a plan, and you work the plan very well. Now, with this new project, you're definitely pushing some boundaries. When you said that, it resonated because I can see it in the music. I can hear it in the music. You have a different sound. Each track, all the tracks don't sound the same because we know there's some folks who the track sounds the same no matter what. So yours sound different. So I can tell there's a message for each one. What are you thinking? Are you putting a message together for each one? How are you doing that?
Not really. I mean, when all the tracks are finished that are going to be on a particular release, I do spend a bit of time sequencing the record. Mm-hmm. Even though a lot of people don't have CD players anymore.
Right.
But they might buy the entire album and download it and still listen to it in sequence. I think it's kind of like a lost art. Mm-hmm. Listening to a recording like from beginning to end. So I kind of build it like I would a set list. When I'm doing a performance, to keep people's attention, it's really good to have peaks and valleys. You don't put a bunch of slow tunes together or even a bunch of fast tunes. If you mix it up, it tends to keep people's attention focused longer, I think.
I do too. In fact, I usually encourage everyone, when you have access to a full album, I say get the whole album, because that way you can listen from beginning to end and really begin to understand an artist. Oftentimes there's a message there. You can feel something and may bring you back to a good memory. It may bring you into a good feeling. So listen to the whole thing. You'll get something out of it. I found that a lot of people who responded back to me, they go, Michael, thank you for that. Because there are tracks that are not really being played as much, I really love. And so they're being exposed to some music that some of the stations don't have maybe in rotation as much. Right. So with your new release here on April 19th, I'm looking forward to that. And in addition to that, we also have a treat on June 1st. You'll be performing at the Taste of Jazz Festival in Stockton.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Will you be playing some of the new tracks?
Yes, I will.
Come on now. Come on. Come on.
Of course I will.
Yes. I'm looking forward to having you in Stockton. I'll be hosting that one day on June 1st.
Yay.
Yes, I'll be there all day. Be hanging out. And so I get to see you and talk with you again as well. But man, this is great. So folks, we're going to be giving away tickets real soon here. So stay tuned for all that. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'll be giving you the information on there. But how can people get in touch with you, Paula? How can they connect with you on social media or online? Yeah,
I have a friends page and a fan page on Facebook and Instagram. It's Paula Atherton Music, X or Twitter, Patherton1. I'm on LinkedIn, and my website is paulaatherton.com.
You're the first artist I've talked to that said they had a LinkedIn page.
Some people don't like to admit it.
Right. It's like, if you want to see her resume, go to LinkedIn. so now, since we have a new project here, do you want us to lead off with one of those tracks? What would you want our listeners to hear from this project before we leave?
I guess the obvious one is the title track.
Right. Okay. Dancing.
But other than that, what interests me is what the listener wants to play.
Okay. So what we'll do, we'll end it with Dancing Shoes. In fact, let's do this. With Dancing Shoes, what's behind that? What was the inspiration behind that?
I was talking to Greg Manning about producing another single for me, and I think he came up with the chorus idea, and I wrote the rest. It's a co-write. It was something like that anyway. When I first heard it, I was listening to the bass line. It kind of reminded me of PYT, the Michael Jackson tune a little bit.
Yeah.
I made a little video for it, and it has guys dancing in there like the way Michael Jackson would and whatnot, moonwalking and all that kind of stuff.
Really?
So that's where it came from.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you get to hear it right now on Sacramento Smooth Jazz. Paula, as always, it's a pleasure to have you. Looking forward to seeing you June 1st as well.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Thanks for listening to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. To continue listening to Smooth Jazz 24/7, follow Sac Smooth Jazz on social media and listen by going to sacsmoothjazz.fm.